Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At Home Dad Network. My name is Brock,
My name is Danny.
and we are here to talk about life as stay at home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight, got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet, cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. Glad you're here. Hopefully, you're not losing your sanity. I'm sure that majority of the country is definitely at grips with that as far as the weather goes, and this crazy snowstorm that has blown through the nation and wreaked havoc on our regularly scheduled programming for the day for folks.
People have had a lot of problems with ice
Yeah,
because it's so
ice,
cold.
lots of snow, all that jazz.
Yeah,
In
ice
places,
is garbage.
well, and yeah, that, and just you get North Carolina, they don't usually get this kind of stuff, and they got hit, and other places from the South Texas and whatnot. So it's like,
Minnesota got a huge problem
yeah,
there with ice.
I didn't see really how much ice. I was paying more attention to what was going on around here and everybody losing their minds over. We always get snow. Like, I don't understand. Kroger, man, they just lick their lips. They're just like, oh yeah, here comes the money.
Everybody wants French toast.
All them bread, eggs, and milk people. Yeah, right. Exactly. French toast. Yeah.
If
That
only we had
explains
a
why.
platypus, it could give us all of those things.
That must start from a young age
Not
because
bread.
that's exactly what happened the other day. Or was it yesterday actually? My kids were like, "We want French toast," and I'm just like, "Okay." And I didn't even think, "Oh yeah, bread, milk, and eggs." Okay, there we are.
Yeah. And for whatever reason, that's what everybody seems to. Now, that may not be the way it is now, but no, immigration and customs enforcement, what I was alluding to for problems in Minnesota.
Yes, there's that also
We don't
going on.
usually talk about those
We don't
things, and
usually
generally
get on
those
the
things
politics.
are.
Yeah, I didn't think
And
you were going down that road,
yep, that's why I
but I get it.
refined it, because I think we are not a political organization. We can't be. That's federal law. That's just how
Yeah,
it is,
it's
right?
how
And as
nonprofits have to function.
representatives, yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, there's just no other way around it. But we definitely don't stand up for murder.
no,
So anyway,
no,
but we'll move
absolutely.
on. We don't want to get depressing this early in the morning. It's early for us. I don't know when you're all listening, but yeah, I thought it was. I don't know. I just thought it was funny to say ice and having a big problem in Minnesota and waiting for the bomb to drop. But
Well
you were
done on putting
avoiding
those together.
thinking of
Yeah.
it. It was my. I can't. I set you up, but I didn't give you a good.
It's
A good.
okay. Yeah. I try to
I
not,
screwed up the punchline.
well, I think it's more along the lines of we try to not bring politics into the
Hmm.
podcast, and not that that's that even the politics sort of situation, but there are politicians involved in it, so it's got that it's got that feel to it. So,
But not what we're
yeah.
talking about today. And I
Not what we're going to
apologize
talk
for
about today. So,
derailing us. I never do that. I know. I never derail the
never,
conversation to something
never.
else. So I apologize that it happened. He just slipped out.
It's okay.
Must be the
Slick roads,
coffee.
man. Slick roads. You were just fishtailing down the road. That's all.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yep. Sliding on that ice.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, it's gotten crazy cold out with, just
Mhm.
fun winter storms and whatnot.
They
And
canceled my camping trip, Brock.
I heard that.
They
That's
canceled
sad.
and I'm like, I get it, but the thing is we still could have gone. And I will say all of the guys were like, yeah, we can go, but we're not going to be able to leave the tent or leave the car wherever so you're going to sit in your car basically for 2 days. You're not going to be able to go hiking, go explore the park because of the wind chill, which was negative 37, I think, here. And
Oh
I
my
don't know what it
gosh.
was down where we were camping, but still a wind chill in the negatives that will actually. I think Greg Clapp said it best. He texted us. He goes, "I went outside just to check. Yeah, the air hurts." And I'm like, "Yeah, we made the right call. We did, and we're trying to reset it. Although, unfortunately, with a lot of things for me, I don't think I'm going to be able to set up another time this year.
Yeah.
which sucks. God, I wanted to go just to experience it. And I really want a fire. I realize more and more I need to set something on fire. I mean, I need to have a campfire and renews my spirit to burn things.
Hey, at this
Um,
point, go collect all the different pallets from different places and put them together and light that bad boy on fire.
I do miss our old house in Georgia because I could set a bonfire. And I did several times. I called the fire department and said, look, I'm going to burn our swamp. And it's all vines and nettles, and I can't get in there. And they lost a bobcat in it once
Oh
because
my.
it's a clay pit. So if you put any weight on it at that level, it just sinks. And they had to get a bulldozer to pull it back out. So anyway, and I'm like, okay, so let's set it on fire. And the fire department came and watched and made sure we were all cool. And yeah, I loved it. I was like, I need to just burn things. It just makes me, I just love fire, you know? So
Such a
that's what I want for
Neanderthal. My
camping.
goodness.
It really is. Yeah. Very lowbrow. And I'm good with that. A lot of forehead on me anyway. So I got a 5 head now. So the hair's receding. But yeah, but I want to have a campfire. I think that's more than anything what I'm kind of
True.
disappointed in. So I might go set a fire. I'd have to dig it out of the snow, but we have a fire pit somewhere in the backyard. I'm sure I can find it. We go out there and dig it out. It's only probably 8 inches of snow. Yeah, not a
Yeah,
big deal.
that's all
Cut
good.
it out, dig down
It's
into
right
the
on-
hole, find
right
some
on the
dry
surface.
wood, get some
So
old
yeah,
furniture
that's
and burn it. Whatever.
yeah. So that does stink, man. I saw that too. I was like, oh, that's a bummer because I
Yeah.
know you guys were looking forward to that. So
And we're all getting stir crazy.
right,
Just
it's
we need to get out, which is what we're going to talk about today.
right, exactly. I mean, like we were talking about that, the fact that you know we get so into a routine, and our kids go off to school, and it's like things like a snow day or whatnot. You're like, oh, okay, but then one day is fine. Like you can make one day work,
Yeah.
but you add multiple days onto it, and you're like, okay, what am I going to do with these children? Some of the when they're older, sometimes they get like schoolwork that they got to do, that kind of thing. So that kind of helps a little bit with, them having something to do. But then after that, like, all right, I just need to make sure that they don't try to kill each other while they're here at the house, and I don't want to try to kill them either, because these, they have their routines too, and then also, I feel like it's a weekend. We're gonna treat this like it's a weekend kind of deal, and you're like,
Hmm.
okay, we can't leave the house though. So if you do actual, events during the weekend, then
Yeah.
yeah, you're not gonna have that. So yeah, I look back at it, and when they were younger, it was a lot of, hey, let's color, maybe read, you can nap, uh, things like that. And now it's like you can't send them off to do those things the same way.
Even though they still probably need a nap. I'm just going to point that out.
Very true.
Very important. And I too, because I would try to nap when the baby napped. I mean, that's just like, I think that's the best way to do it because that's the only time you're going to get sleep. And I could do that now. I could all make, okay, 11:15, y'all. We're going to have a 35-minute nap time.
Yep. The importance of a nap, it for whatever reason goes away when kids get older and they don't
Yeah.
realize how important it truly is.
You truly miss it once you can't have it. But yeah, having the kids home is fantastic. And I love my kids. I know we all love our kids. I think we all love our kids, but they're
Most of the time.
too much right now. They're too much. They're pushing limits. And I will say I went from 4 to 3 because we took my oldest back to college. So that was cool. I missed him immediately. It was really weird. I probably sent him a text 10, 15 minutes later and just said, it's just not the same without you here. I miss you. And he said, you miss me too. And I was like, oh, but it's a much quieter house, even with just one less.
I'm sure. I'm sure it is.
The oldest two are still fighting and, just little bits of fighting. They don't actively hate each other like they used to, which, my second actively hates my third and my third actively hates my second. So, but everybody loves the baby, even though she's not a baby. But it's really funny the level of noise. And my oldest is not loud. It just, I don't know. They just grate on each other and they end up fighting. And it's okay. And before it would be, okay, y'all just need to go outside. Nope, go burn off some energy. I don't care what you do. Go in the backyard, get dirty, get muddy, whatever. But now it's, I don't care what you do, go out in the backyard, get frostbite, whatever. Yeah, we can't do that. That doesn't work. And
No,
as
that
many
does
of
not
our
work.
dads know, especially right now with this weather system hitting across the nation, snow in Texas and stuff. What? But at that point, you're just at your wit's end.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to keep them inside. So what do you do? And again, they don't color. They don't finger paint. You don't make slime in a gallon baggie and seal it up and put it on a light table and they make shapes. And no, that's not what they do anymore. They need much more stimulation. And I will say screens have saved my life. No, screens have saved my children's lives, I think. It gets to a point. I'm like, no, go. I don't care what you do. I just need you to be quiet for 45 minutes. I got to, or 4 or 5 minutes would be.
I will say that I have definitely grabbed on to the saying of, listen, your boredom is not my problem. Go find something to do. Don't burn the house down, but go find something to do, type of deal. And
yeah,
it works for my kids. I won't say it's going to work for everybody's kids, but it works for my kids. Typically, my daughter will go up to her room and she will just get into Lego and building things, or she's just up there reading in her room and she's completely content with that. And my son will mope and will be, just annoyed with the fact that I don't have something for him to do, but he'll eventually kind of figure something out, or he'll actually fall asleep because there's nothing else to it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, like we've spent a lot of time just being like, listen, like we were bored when we were kids. And if I went to my parents and said that I was bored, like all I would get told was, I don't care, get away, go find something to do. Like
I tell my kids, oh, okay, well, let's go clean the basement. Oh, well, let's vacuum your floor.
Or that, yeah.
Because there's always chores to do, and it doesn't take them very long. But my philosophy, and this is much more philosophical than practical, but my philosophy, my belief is boredom comes from within. It just does. You can be anywhere doing nothing and not be bored with it if you can do that. Like I can look at stuff and go, okay, well, then what do we have to do? Well, there's a trail of ants. I can stare at a trail of ants for 10 minutes and, I can think about stuff. And also having the large library of books that I've read in my life. And I'm not saying I'm a huge reader, but I'm old. I've just had plenty of time.
Yeah.
And being able to pull those stories up or just, I don't want to say fanfic. I don't write fanfic. I just want to make that very clear to anybody out there. I don't write fanfic, but I do think about the stories that I've read and how things could be different, and how things could change. I'm like, just do that. And my kids don't get that one. They're like, oh, no, boredom doesn't come from within. I'm like, it does. Happiness comes from within. All of this stuff is internal. You can make it. You can, manifest it. You can manifest it. No. Okay, well, then let's vacuum your floor. Oh, I'm not bored anymore. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, whatever it takes. I know you're going to be going crazy because they're not enjoying the lack of routine any more than I am. They like the freedom. If they're able to sleep in and stay up late and do whatever they want. Yeah, okay, that's cool. But that's not what we're doing. Like you said,
Right.
at best, it's a weekend, but more than likely it's, oh, okay, cool. Y'all are here. We can get a lot of stuff done.
Yep.
Who wants to? We haven't put away our Christmas tree. And I'll admit that's a little late for me, but for whatever reason, we took the boxes, the ornaments and stuff were in and put them back in the workshop 100 feet out in the snow. And I'm like, I don't want to go out there. I was going to do it Friday, but again, the wind chills were, I said, nah, we're not going outside.
You put
not
yourself
gonna
in a corner right there with that.
Yeah, I
for
don't know
sure.
why we put them up either. I'm like, why would we do that? Let's put it in the garage or just right here. Put them in the basement. But no, we took them back out. Now we didn't put them back in the attic of the workshop, which is where they spend their year. So that's the positive that I'm basing this on. But getting that stuff in and then telling them, okay, we're putting the Christmas tree up, or we're taking the Christmas tree down, I should say. Yeah, we're going to put away the ornaments and everything. Let's go. And then we stack it by the door and have it ready for when we can go outside. and we'd all, make a train and take it out to the workshop together. There's plenty of stuff you can do that is work around the house and what have you. And, there's always something. I feel like there's always something, but I don't think I'm the greatest cleaner either. But the reality of it is I don't want to do it. I don't want to vacuum your floor with you. I don't want to stand here and watch you vacuum. I don't want to encourage you to vacuum. I just want you to do it and me to be able to go do something else.
Yeah.
You need to go take care of my stuff. So that's the other part of it, is having the need to entertain them.
Yeah.
Okay. And when your kids are small, they need you. Those times when they're like Velcro.
Yeah, I think one thing too, I know the kids will do this, is that, and they're not watching some of the crazy stuff on YouTube, but using YouTube for the educational side of things, because there are a lot of really cool educational things on YouTube. And so, hey, okay, what are you studying? And can we find some of the stuff on YouTube that's similar to it? And maybe dive into that. If this is something you're enjoying, or maybe this is something that you're having difficult enjoying or learning type of deal. And there's so many things on YouTube that definitely can help in that understanding. And then too, there's some great fun things, like the kids like watching like point of view videos of roller coasters, like they like to see what that's going to be like. So, someplace in Japan they'll never, they might not get to, type of deals. Oh, what's that roller coaster like? Because
Yeah.
and so just all those kind of different aspects of things are really great. Also, too, there's really good sort of like quiet time music that they pick up. If we're going to be just having a time where it's like, hey, you can read or you can draw, or something along those lines, because my kids like to draw, they will actually go, they've got some different channels that they can go on to. There's Waffle the Otter, who is this cute little cartoon otter that just sort of sits there and just kind of meanders in his chair or whatever, while there's just this nice soothing music playing. So, and they get a kick out of that. So, things like that. If your kid's into that kind of thing, like that stuff's out there, which is great. Not the wild and crazy, stuff that you might find on YouTube where you're just like, I can't handle another episode of screaming and high pitched voices.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah,
It's delightful.
so hopefully, you're hanging in there, guys, and you're figuring out ways to make it through these cold months. I will say that something that sort of I'm looking forward to into the warmer months of the year are, we've been starting to plan out and look around for like different like things, like what do we want to do? So we've been looking at kind of each month, like,
Yeah.
is there something going on? How do we want to plan out different things? So, we're slowly kind of like looking into those things and trying to figure it out. We've been able to actually, in a lottery, because like you get these roving baseball teams are playing around, like the Savannah Bananas and stuff like that, which is like the Harlem Globetrotters.
I was going
of
to say, yeah,
baseball.
aren't they like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So there's them, and there's another group around called the Cosmic Takeover, which is black light. They like shut all the lights off and run a black light game, so everything's glowing in neon. It's really
cool.
really cool. It is. It's very psychedelic type of thing. It's really funny, but everything that's white like glows and stuff. So it's pretty neat. Like even the lines on the baseball field, because they're white, so like the black light's gonna make them glow. But I put in for a lottery for that and actually won, which was cool. So
Wow.
I bought tickets to go there down in Louisville in June. It's a
Cool.
pretty neat thing. Like that's why if you're looking for something unique, man, the black light baseball is pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that. I can't imagine. I'm sure it works out well, but as a non-athlete, I'm like, no, it's dark. I'm going to get hit by the ball. No, you'll see the ball. It's bright white.
Oh yeah, you'll see it for
Yeah.
sure, definitely. And all the
As it
players
is
are
me.
wearing like neon stuff too. So I mean, it's really cool. I think I came across it on like TikTok or something like that. I was like, whoa, I didn't even know this even existed. So I think last year was actually the first year that they did it, and it took off really well. It's a like minor league team type thing. So but
Mhm.
yeah, so I got that coming up, and just trying to figure out camping and just
Yeah.
thinking of this, just kind of being like, all right, like this is for a moment, this cold weather, like it's gonna go away. And
There you go.
unless you
You're
live in the
writing
north.
stories in your head.
Yeah, unless you live in the north, and then it may go away. I don't know.
Yeah, spring break in March. I'm like, what? What do
Mm,
we do? Oh, we leave the state. Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know that's what we did for, yeah. And that's
yeah.
literally it. And it makes sense now in hindsight where all of these ding dongs came from during spring break and why everything was crazy. I'm like, where are these people coming from? Oh, yeah.
They
Places where
getting
it's
away.
cold.
Yeah, they're getting away.
Yeah. And well, it's a different culture. It's a different understanding. I never experienced the cold. Why would you leave your state? That makes no sense. Well, that's because Georgia had much more accommodating weather. You
Hmm.
know, gets hot, but it definitely doesn't get to the, oh, you're going to die if you go outside. It'll burn your skin off from the wind. It doesn't get like that at any point, no matter how hot it gets. It
Right,
never
no
reached
kidding.
that level. So, but yeah, but a big part of, the kids being home is the frustration. I love my kids, and I think all of our parents listening love their kids, but they're infuriating. They're
Yeah.
just infuriating. They are annoying. They do things that make me angry. And they don't do things that they're supposed to, chores, housework, what have you, politeness, keep your hands to yourself, that kind of thing, that all make me mad. Or worse yet, make me feel disrespected. Which for me is a big part of showing love. That's just how it was growing up. You show someone respect because you love them. That's what I want from my kids, but I didn't teach them that, and they don't live in that same world like I did, so it's more difficult. But all of those things are just incredibly irritating, and I think that's something that, from my experience, dads are much more willing to admit that.
Hmm.
Like it may make me sound like a bad parent, but God, my kids piss me off sometimes, and I think it's just the truth of it, and I think that's okay. I don't love my children less when they disrespect me, or I think they disrespect me, so I better put it, or I get my feelings hurt, or I get mad at them. Whatever happens, I still love them.
Yeah.
But those types of relationships that you have with somebody, and really very few things are closer than your kids. I mean, they're a small version of you, and you're sitting there arguing with a small version of yourself. And that frustration, I think, is something that we need to talk about too. That leads into anger, whatever it might be. But the reality of the fact that kids are annoying, they just are.
Yeah, I mean they're coming into their own personalities, and that that has its own bit of the part of the equation, and definitely can be frustrating for sure. Like they, they're not doing things maybe in the way that you like doing things, and so they're coming up with their own stuff with it, and that is definitely can bring on a lot of frustration. Yeah.
And it's fine, normal. It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's part of growing up, part of becoming your own self, that kind of thing. So, and a lot of those things that they do that are annoying now, especially these little kids, like they're gonna grow out of that. They're not gonna keep on doing those, especially if
Probably.
especially if you spend the time like talking to them about it, like
Uh huh.
kind of,
Example, showing them the example, right?
yeah, exactly. It's
That's
like
not how we talk to each other.
exactly that's a big one right there. I think that teaching communication to your kids is key because if you don't, like that can develop into a really negative thing as they get into adulthood. I've seen that with family members.
Yeah.
And you're just like, ooh, that's not going to go well.
Yeah. Saying they'll grow out of it. That kind of, when you said that a minute ago, and eventually they grow out of it. I'm like, yeah, I know a lot of adults who are just jerks, just annoying as they can be. Come on.
Listen, I'm just trying to put it out there into the atmosphere of listen,
Yeah,
okay?
it's the
I want
positive.
it to be
Yes, yes, it's the positive message, the possible reality, probable reality, but you know, I think I'm just going to say it. I think assholes are pretty much born, not made. I just feel like you come into the world as a certain mindset in certain people, just that's who they're going to be. They're going to be a jerk. They're not, they're either tactless or they're just obnoxious or just whatever it might be. And that's their place in the world. And I think there's a reason for that. I don't know what it is. I'm
I
sure
don't
there's
know
a,
if I agree with that completely because like I get it because then it becomes a DNA thing. What is are their parents that way? Because if their parents aren't that way, then I don't see it being something that's a
it's
born
a
into.
recessive gene.
You think it's a recessive gene?
Makes perfect sense.
Okay,
It's
okay.
recessive because you're an asshole. No, no, but yeah, but you're right. There may not be a DNA reason for it. I understand, but I just feel like there are certain people that are difficult to deal with,
Sure.
and
Well, and I think that there's so many different things out there that influence kids these days and adults. And if you don't have a moral compass that's balanced, or you don't, have a way of, like, for instance, like, if your kid is just watching crazy things on YouTube and there's no conversation happening about what those things are, like, that's major influence on your child, and that's one of those things that can just really develop into outside of the box things that your family, it's like, how is this kid coming up with these things? This is not how mom is. This is not how dad is. This is an outside source that is having influence on our children. And
Mhm.
that's when, like, being proactive about what's going on is necessary. And of course, at that point, if you're seeing it too, there's also a bit of just, reactiveness. And so you kind of got to be able to balance those two things out. I think that, I've seen multiple times at school where a kid is doing or saying something and you're like, that is not a action of a child. That is an action of an adult. Like they've seen an adult doing this and they've latched onto it.
I don't,
And
I don't know what you mean.
okay, I'll give you an example.
Okay, thank you.
My kids go to a school where, it's very conservative, and just so happened that one kid was literally walking around the school with a Make America Great Again hat. And I was just like, for me, I was like, that's not really necessary for being in the school. But his entire, like, conversation and things at school, when you would hear him talk to people at the lunch table and stuff, for his age, was not things that he himself would have come up with on his own. Like,
Mm.
they are things that he would have heard around the dinner table from
Mm-hmm.
parents.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah, gotcha.
it's just because I would sat down a couple times and would just ask him, like, you know, where did you come up with that idea? Why do you feel that is that way? He couldn't answer it. Just he couldn't do it. He had no
Hmm.
backing on it at all. And eventually I said, just curious, is this stuff that you've heard from, like, your parents at home or whatever? And pretty much he didn't want to say yes, but you could see it on his face. And it's just like that sort of thing, it's like the influence is there. Like, he doesn't know why they're saying those things. He just sees
Hmm.
mom and dad saying those things, and
Yeah,
because mom and dad are saying those things, he thinks that is okay, or
yeah.
that
It's
is something that
normalized.
he can say, type of deal. And so
Yeah.
that's why I was kind of getting to you
Gotcha.
there.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. Sorry about that. Sometimes I'm a
No,
little
you're fine. You're fine.
tense,
It's
but
okay.
yeah, yeah. The nurture versus nature argument. Is it how you were born, or is it something you learned, basically?
Right.
And everything like kids that are bullies, they are, to me, that's one of the, it's just very sad things to see a kid who's a bully, because more than likely they learned it at home. That's probably nurture more than nature. They were taught that it's okay to push people around, or worse, they were pushed around,
Right.
and they're developing that understanding of this is how I get what I want.
Yeah.
Kids are in many ways very complex, complicated creatures, but they're also very simple. On the level of house cats or dogs, they really have that. Well, I just want this thing. How do I get this thing?
Yeah.
What do I have to do? And sometimes they've learned I push people around.
Oh,
That's how I get what
also,
I want.
So speaking of bullies, a couple of episodes ago, I was telling you and telling everybody about what my son was going through
Mhm.
with wearing a mask to school because he had been sick for a little while. I never really, I was listening to episodes. I was like, I never really kind of got to give like the sort of what happened portion of things.
No, the resolution. Yeah.
Yeah. So he had one boy who came up to him after there was a teacher that had talked to the kids, and this one boy had said, "Hey, I'm sorry," and had a conversation with him. I think I mentioned that. The other two boys, there wasn't really any conversation that took place, but I was talking with my son about it recently, and he said that he's pretty sure that the boy that he talked to went back to the other two and explained it in more detail to them, like what they had a
Mhm.
conversation about, because the whole thing basically stopped after that. It was
Interesting.
all taken care of. And so, yeah, it was good. Like it, came to a good resolution, it seemed like, where there was some understanding of, all right, I'm not being very nice to other kids here at school. And I think having a peer within that circle to be able to be like, hey, listen, like I talked to him, like this is what's going on, back
That's a
off. Like,
great example. That's a fantastic example. It really is. Because
yeah,
speaking up in your peer group, I think everyone has seen that Harry Potter movie where whatever dude's name, I can't remember, but standing up to your enemies is
Neville
difficult. But
Longbottom.
Neville stood up to his friends,
Yep.
right, and said, "Look, this is not something you should be doing." And he got all of these points for it. And I apologize to all of our Harry Potter fans. I never read the books. Okay, I don't know it. I'm not in that universe well enough, and I do apologize for my ignorance. But you can send us a message or an email and let me know what I should have said, and I'm good with that. But the reality of it is standing up to your peers is huge because that's what a lot of times what we're doing as at-home dads to things that are sexist,
Yeah.
to things that should not be said, that are misogynistic, things that are, a lot of us too move into things that are bigoted, racism, things like that, and we will stand up and go, no, that's not funny, we shouldn't say that. That's not a word we should use, or that's not a phrase we should say, or, that's just very prejudiced, and that's not how we're going to talk. And standing up to your friends in your peer group, you're all hanging around out, at a bar, watching a football game, drinking beer, and somebody says something that's just definably misogynistic. And you be the person that steps up and says, that's not how we act,
Yeah.
right? And that's what it sounds like that peer group did.
Yeah.
That one or two of them said, look, this isn't allowed. That's not how we're going to treat people. We're going to be better. I expect you to be better. And that expectation is something that I think everyone in a peer group almost always wants to meet. Oh, the group acts like this. That's why
Yeah.
middle school is such garbage, because everybody's, well, we're in a clique together. So everybody acts like this, and we all hate this kid in the mask. Yeah, that's wrong. Okay, but that's a natural thing that people do, especially at that age, because they're trying to form their personality, right? But I love hearing that happened, and I'm really
Yeah.
glad you told us that, because just understanding that there are changes generationally, that you see kids that will step up to their friends and say, "No, we don't do that. That's bullying."
Yeah.
That's amazing. That to me is
Well, and I
just
think,
a ray of hope. Sincerely, I love it.
well, and that's for me, sending the kids to a private school versus public school. I think that part plays a big role in it for how kids are, because how do the kids react to things? Because one of the things that they get is a weekly like chapel service where, they're being taught different like morals and things like that.
Mhm.
And it happens on a regular basis, and it's outside of the norm of just like the typical classroom education type of thing. And I think that I feel like there's a lot of, I remember when I was in school, like there would be different like little like convocation type things where you would have,
Mhm.
even on a monthly basis, and you'd be able to hear outside just how things are going with different, aspects of that. And I feel like the public schools have gotten away from that side of things, like to be able to get everybody in an assembly and, sort of have a conversation and presentation about, you know, treating people with respect and that sort of thing. That's sort of gone away, and it's all based upon just like, all right, we're just going to concentrate on the education side of things and just not even try to, get into the realm of how do we do these things
Integrity
together.
and-
Yeah, how do we do these things as a whole, and treating everybody as equal and respectful, that kind of thing. So
Yeah. I want to say though, again, your experience is your experience. My experience is mine. Our schools up to and including the high school here are all adding or have that all of that in their curriculum.
oh, that's nice.
They teach you about respect and integrity. They have a different word of the month at the elementary school level that everybody's learning, and like the teachers will model the behavior that would be, let's say, I don't know, honest, what honesty is. And I see it a lot and I really love it. Again, I don't have a experience with private schools at all, so I'm
Yeah.
not, able to speak to that, but I agree. It is so beneficial. Again,
Yeah.
it is telling the kid, normalizing that we are compassionate people, that we have integrity, that we have honor, that we have honesty,
Yeah.
and that we may fail, we may mess up, but we return to those are what our values are. And I think that's incredibly valuable, for every family to have, really.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
if your schools aren't teaching it, teach it yourself. That's just, I will tell, I told my kids, you're a Mercer. We don't act like that.
Yep.
And for many years it stuck. Now, then they got too smart for me, and, it was like, I didn't work as much, but they did have that understanding that this is who we are. This is what life is like. And that is honestly what you're doing for your kids. And having the schools to back that up is fantastic. I love to hear that for your kids and for that school and for
Yeah.
any school doing it. It's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's all the time we got today. I got to get back to my kids who knows what they're doing right now
Mhm.
behind the door that's closed.
Same. Big mood.
I
Yeah.
haven't heard any loud noises yet, so who knows what's
look,
going on.
The kitchen is right above me, right? And there's no insulation, really. There's just very little sound insulation. I will tell you, one of my children dropped a cell phone this morning.
Okay.
And it was about 10, 15 minutes, maybe. I can't remember what was into this the podcast, and whack. And I'm thinking, and my instinct was to go, was that your phone? Because it was almost every time. I hear it all the time, especially with like the kid on the hardwood floors. Like,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
in their bedroom. It's clack. I'm like, was that your phone? Nothing's broken. I'm like, man, I have dropped. Well,
That only happens when I fall asleep, that it just falls on the floor.
I have, knock on wood, never dropped this phone. And as far as I know, I didn't drop the one before it more than twice. I just don't drop my phone. It's too valuable. It's going to
I know,
break.
right? Yeah.
There's too much in it.
You're
My
carrying
entire
around a
life is
mortgage.
pretty much in there.
You're carrying around
Right.
like a mortgage of a house in your hand. I'm not
Yes.
dropping this thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
And the
exactly.
kids can't understand that. But yeah, so I'm back to the point. I am ready to go check on my kids as well. Again, this is a day when they're home, and that makes everything a little bit more difficult. So I do want
Yep.
to say I hope everybody out there, all of our parents listening, make it through this time.
You
It's
got it.
difficult. We all
You
get
got
it.
this.
But yeah, you got this.
All right. Y'all have a good one. We'll talk to you in a week.
Yep. Good night, everybody.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.